Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. In today's video, we're going to talk 5 things I'd like to see from the Lumineth Realm Lords in their upcoming Battletome. It's no secret that we've got a new Lumineth Realm Lords Battletome on the horizon. Yes, another one, but I am really excited for this. Despite having to buy my third Battletome in under 3 years, I am excited to see the Lumineth Realm Lords get a bit of a tweak and updated to Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition. They're definitely an army that I think could use with some substantial changes, and one of the armies I'd really look forward to seeing have some sort of identity given to them throughout the Battletome. With that said, this is going to be the 5 things I would like to see in a new Battletome. I'd love to know what people would like to see as well in a new Battletome, but let's get kicking on into it. Number 1, a better overall internal balance of the army list. I don't think it's any secret. Now, this should be said that there are typically bad units in a Lumineth Realm Lords army. There are very few bad units that I think the War Scrolls aren't good in this army. However, I do think that Lumineth suffer from an issue where their army is clearly not internally balanced. There are some units that are far and away better than others, or better than others in a particular role. There are many ways you can get internal balance within the army without having to change too many of the units. Certainly there are some rough edges that could be toned down, and this would bring things back in line by itself, but also diversifying the roles that units that have similar functions in the army as well can help. So I look at something like the issue where we have Sentinels and then we have a Starshard Ballista. Both are ranged shooting units. One does mortal wounds, one doesn't. There's not much about the Starshard Ballista that can make it better at current than Sentinels on its current War Scroll. Now, there are certainly ways you can do this, and points is one way. However, they're not quite as far apart as would need to be, and Sentinels probably get way too expensive at that point. And Starshard Ballistas all would get too cheap at that point, which is not what you want to do. I think by giving the Starshard Ballista something like heavy range, you could balance off something like the Sentinel. But this is the sort of stuff I'm talking about with the army. I'd like to see more balance. The Lumineth army really, for me, over its course of time, has always jumped from one main thing it does to another main thing. We saw at the start, we saw the Mountain army, and then we saw it jump into the Venari, Oral, and Warden army with Teclis and a bunch of Sentinels and Wardens. We've then seen it change again, and it just constantly evolves and changes into this one particular army rather than allowing multiple builds within the army to be competitive at the same time. Number 2, lower the skill floor, and I think this can be done by internally balancing the army and make the army more accessible for new players. Lumineth are an army I constantly see new players wanting to get into. There's something about elves that is just popular with people who enjoy a fantasy genre. They are the elves of the Warhammer Fantasy realm that I guess are front and center, more so than Daughters of Cain or any of the Cities of Sigmar factions, and you know, much more elf-like. I mean, they're more true elf than any of those other factions. Now, Lumineth do have this really high skill floor. They have a very high skill ceiling as well, but the skill floor for them is really high. There's a lot of overlapping rules and a lot of different rules to remember within the army. Now, we have definitely seen some good things with this, with the Shining Company rules going over to the War Scroll that we've seen for the Wardens that have had their War Scroll card shown off, which is a really positive move, and I like to see more stuff like this. I think we can do without, you know, the sub-faction abilities being abilities within the book, you know, seeing the Huracan get their rules just on the War Scroll, just put that all on the War Scroll, put all the Shining Company, Venari rules on the War Scroll, all the Scenari rules on the War Scrolls. While this would make the War Scrolls more difficult to comprehend, I think it would make the army overall easier to read on first read. You wouldn't have to go to and read, you know, the different sections of the Lumineth army and have this big sort of chunk of these are Lumineth type rules, and you only get these if particular units are within your army. I think we can definitely see a good change there. Aether Quartz I like as an idea, and I do think it probably is one of the easier mechanics to follow. You definitely need to promote using markers and stuff like that for it, but This is something I really want to see. Like, they're an army that heaps and heaps of people want to get into, and I always say it's not the best army to get started with, even though I know there's people who want to get into this army really badly with the elves. Number 3, a mixed arms playstyle. For me, Lumineth have struggled with an identity in that they all their different parts feel secular to the other. It feels like you're either running a Huracan army or either running a Mountain Man army, or you're running a Venari army. You never really see too many mixed forces out there. And this is what I'd really like to see Lumineth. They're one of the few armies in Age of Sigmar that I think has, the ability to be a true mixed arms army. They've got cavalry, they've got archers, they've got combat troops, they've got wizards, and they've got combat fighters. They've got a banner bearer even. They have that sort of old Warhammer Fantasy style roster to them, which is cool. And I'd really like to see this sort of pushed upon. I think a mixed arms playstyle for Lumineth could be something really interesting, where it rewards you for taking all the different parts together. Now, this is something I look at Lumineth a lot, where I compare them to Eldar in Warhammer 40k, where an Eldar army has the aspect warriors being, little flavor teasers to it. And I think this is where the different aspect troops, like the Huracan and like the mountain troops, can all be different little aspects and different little flavor added to your force. Meanwhile, you've got that nice mixed core of a Venari force in your army. Certainly you can lean in towards armies, and I don't think you shouldn't be able to build all Huracan and all of the mountain armies at all, but I would like to see the mixed arm playstyle really become front and center for the Lumineth Realm Lords. Number 4, I'd like to see a deeper look into the Spirefall. I'd really love a look into what happened here. If there's a Warhammer Age of Sigmar novel I'd like to see, it's something looking into the Spirefall. For me, I think that is a fantastic storyline and a fantastic idea for some narrative for the Lumineth Realm Lords, and I'd love to see it built upon. For those not as well versed in the Lumineth Realm Lords lore, the Spirefall is essentially when the Lumineth Realm Lords almost self-destructed. They almost destroyed themselves. They became so obsessed with perfection and so obsessed with their own superiority, they turned upon their own people, turned against one another, and have pretty much destroyed their entire realm, almost bringing themselves to the point of extinction. If it were not for Teclis and learning about the Elementary from Selenar, the Lumineth wouldn't be around in modern Warhammer Age of Sigmar today. And so I'd really love to see more of a push towards this. I think it is just such a fantastic narrative story. I really want to see more of it. And lastly, number 5, another narrative topic. What has happened to Teclis post-Broken Realms? Now, Teclis' main part in the Broken Realms story was his big showdown with Nagash. What has happened to Teclis in this? We know that, yes, he managed to bind Nagash to the mountain Avalanor, sort of doing a similar thing to Nagash, and that he and the other elven gods did to Slash, but really, Teclis was also stabbed by Nagash and has had some sort of dark energy pouring into him, where he actually needs to stick around Alariel to keep himself alive, as he's sort of, struck with this death magic. And I want to see what happens with this, or what is going to happen to Teclis now that he's sort of been stabbed by Nagash. He's got all these bad things happening to him. I really want to know how it's all sort of coming together and what his sort of next plays are going to be in the story of Age of Sigmar. But that is 5 things I personally would like to see for the Lumineth Realm Lords. I'd love to hear from everyone down in the comments below what you would like to see for the Lumineth Realm Lords next. What are things you're wanting to see in the new Battletome? What are things you don't want to see in the new Battletome? Let us know down in the comments below. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, drop us a comment down below in the comment section and let us know what you enjoyed about the video and what you'd like to see more of on the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here we have at Cinderful Gaming, you can do so on our Discord server, which is linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is our Patreon and YouTube members, where you can go to help support the channel and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lauer, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ant, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giappy390, and to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now, everyone.